Hi, it's Carl, and I wanted to do a video on how really good hitters start their swing. They all have something in common. And we're going to look at 4 really good hitters in this video, and then we're going to look at Megan and Nicole as well. And again, we're going to take a look at how they start their swing, because if you start it right, then everything else falls into place. And the first thing that they're all going to do that you're going to see, they're going to make a negative move. Just like in tennis, you do a backswing before you go forward, or in golf, you do a backswing before you go forward. You do the same thing with the softball swing. You go back before you go forward. And everyone does it differently, but watch their legs. They're going to move backwards a little bit. They're going to load all their weight on their back leg, and then they're going to take their stride to move forward. So again, it's back before forward. And this is a timing mechanism. When do you start this? It depends on how fast the pitcher is. With a really fast pitcher, you're going to start when she's at the top of her windup. With the slower pitcher, you're going to start maybe after the release. It all depends. So here, let's take a look at Tammy Williams. She's on Northwestern, and she's awesome. Here, she's starting her negative move. She's loading all of her weight onto her back foot. There you can see she's in a real powerful position. All her weight's on her back foot, and now she's going to move forward. So let's look at that again. She's doing a negative move, okay? A negative move, and then now she moves forward. So back to go forwards. Now let's look at Katie Cochran, probably the best college hitter out there right now. Here she is. Load it all on the back foot, do a negative move, and here we go forward. So she does it a little bit different, but they all do it. Now let's look at my favorite hitter, Jessica Mendoza. Here she goes. There she goes. Look at her loading her weight on her back foot, and then she goes forward. And then we'll look at one more. This is Crystal Bustos. Here she goes. She does it a little bit different, but there's all of her weight on her back leg, and then she moves forward. So that's the negative move. It's with the legs, and again, when you start, it depends on how fast the pitcher is, but you're moving back before we go forwards. So let's take a look at Nicole and Megan. Here's Nicole. And all you really do, Nicole, is you just kind of go forward. Let's watch that again. You never really load all the weight on your back leg and do a negative move. And again, that's your timing mechanism. You just go forward. And then let's take a look at Megan. And Megan does the same thing. There's really no negative move. There's no loading the weight on the back leg. It just kind of moves forward. So if you do a negative move, you're going to have a much more powerful swing. So now let's look at part 2, and that is that when they finish their stride and their front foot comes down and touches the ground, what good hitters do is they create space with their back elbow and their hands. So we're going to take a look at that now too. So let's go back with Tammy Williams. Now watch. Here she comes to her stride. Now here she is. Her toe comes down. Look how she still has a lot of space here between her back elbow and her hands. She's created this space, and then when she starts to rotate her swing, then it comes down and it leads to a powerful swing. So let's see that again. So there she is. She does her negative move. She moves forward. She comes down a toe touch, and she has a lot of space between her back elbow, her hands, and her side. So let's take a look at Katie Cochran again. Same thing. There she is. She's loaded on her back foot. She comes down a toe touch. Look at all the space she has back here between her arms and her side, which is right here, and her hands. So she's created space. Let's look at Jessica Mendoza. Same way. There she is. She's loaded on her back foot. Here, look where she starts her hands. Her hands are right at her shoulder. So as she moves her weight to her back foot, her hands go back, and her back elbow goes back. She's creating space. So then, when she decides to rotate, she brings everything in, and it's a lot more powerful. So then, let's look at Crystal Bustos. Same thing. Here we go. She's loading her weight on her back foot. Look at all the space she creates. Look, she starts with her elbows down, her back elbow, and then as she goes to take her stride and comes down, lands on her front foot, look at all that space back there. That's why she hits the ball so hard. Her back elbow's up now, a lot of space between her back elbow and her side and her hands. And then so now when she starts to rotate, she brings it down and everything comes through real powerfully. She hits the ball really hard. So now let's look at Nicole and Megan again. And so now we're looking to create space. So here you are at your toe touch, and you have no space between your back elbow and your hands like that. It's already kind of collapsed. Let's take a look at Bustos again. and where she is. So there's toe touch. So now you guys are in the exact same spot. So toe touch, look at all the space that she has back here. And then here's Nicole, and toe touch, and your space is already collapsed. So if you keep that space, and then when you start to rotate, it'll be a lot more powerful. And Megan, kind of the same thing. Here you come down, here's your toe touch, and you can see too your elbow is already collapsed. See how it's down already. You start with your elbow up, and at toe touch it comes down. Crystal Bustos is actually doing it opposite of that. She starts with her elbow down, and then as she comes to toe touch, she's creating that space. So again, it's two important things. We've got a negative move and creating space with your back elbow. And all good hitters do that. And if you do that, the rest of the swing will kind of happen, and you're going to be able to time your pitches a little bit better. So hopefully that helps.